Welcome in, everyone, to Night City Stargazers. We're on episode 9. Where we had left off, some rather important things had taken place. Loup had found herself confronting a Ripperdoc, goes by the name of Fingers, who she's found has done her roommate Jessica dirty with some faulty implants. But walked away with some wounds herself, not before dishing some wounds beforehand, and made a run for it before backup or the NCPD could swoop in. Trix had been speaking with her friend Blunder, otherwise known as Jason, about the topic of net running, of the risks, the dangers, the costs, and other such things. Giving her an idea what deep diving really can lead to. And Slideye found herself a new apartment with a new roommate, with Orvan. Orvan telling Slideye that he understands fully the risks that he's taking by taking her in himself. But a shared roof is a shared expense, and a shared expense means less of a burden. Which I suppose was true with all of these mercs. Each one finding their own place, and their own place to sleep, in quarters that may or may not be too small. But I think we'll open up with Trix. It's a new day in Night City. Plenty of advertisements and newsreels and scream sheets are spewing off the recent goings-on of the Night City streets. Plenty of innocents have been mercilessly attacked. Not so much to call trauma team or to call Max Tack on, but gang violence is gang violence, and the innocents get caught in the crossfire. Of course, some of those innocents being suits of the megacorps, along with those who may be street rats or maybe just people trying to survive. But it doesn't terribly concern you, as it doesn't directly affect you. You're tucked away in your apartment, in your new bed, Trix. Took a few days for your stuff to be moved into Blunder's apartment, making yourself a little corner out for your own sleeping space, a set of drawers to house all of your things, a set of keys or a passcode added to your personal link to get you into the apartment after it's locked. And you see that Blunder has also awoken, has scarfed down probably the most bland of ramen noodle boxes that you could possibly think of, given the name of the shop downstairs. and is just kind of toying with something on his personal terminal. He's not jacked in or anything. Just kind of toying with something on the local net. Maybe visiting some websites, maybe looking at what the purchase of a vehicle might be, or something to that effect.
Anything interesting?
No. Just sweeping the net. Nothing terribly new or of interest has popped up recently, so nothing worth digging my claws into.
Nothing worse than a quiet day in Night City.
If you consider, I guess, a Valentino shootout to be nothing.
Yeah, that's day-to-day stuff. It happens all the time.
That it does. NCPD's always got its handful.
Look, I'm heading out. Need anything?
No, not particularly. Where are you off to this early?
I figured I'd swing by, check on Lou, check on the other two, some point today.
Alright.
Be nice to just get back on the bike anyway.
I'll be here.
Do you ever leave this place? And don't tell me you go downstairs. That's not leaving the building.
Why should I?
I swear I'm going to drag you out one of these days. I promised you anyway, so I still owe you that one.
Yeah, and I guess that kind of comes down to your free-spiritedness and me being a Night City homebody.
Can you blame me? I can't sit still.
It's in your nature not to sit still.
Exactly. Well, you know how to get a hold of me then.
I've got your hollow.
Sorry, cats. On her way out, she's going to give Slideye a call.
Alright. Slideye. You're getting a call on your hollow from Trix.
I end up picking it up. Trix! Funny hearing from you. Got a job?
No. Figured I'd invite you out for a drink, though. My way of saying thank you for saving my ass twice in a row.
Yeah, sure, why not? If you're buying.
Of course.
Parts aren't cheap.
Where you want to meet up?
The coffee, what would probably be the most appropriate place, would you end up thinking, given between our locations? Or maybe something that's a little bit more thematic in
Well...
it's not like we're deserving to be in the afterlife, for instance.
No. Only the big names go to the afterlife. Could always... It's a little out of your way, but always could go to the Coyote Coho. Could always stop by a little...
Why not? Haven't seen Padre in a long time.
Alright.
Sounds like a plan. Let's go to Coyote.
That works. I'll say if you can think of a place, I know a place just outside the city.
If you have the preference, hell, it's
I have
on
no
your dime.
preference.
Besides, I can end up using the walk. You
I'll
know,
swing by and pick you up.
aren't you a doll? But you're gonna have to end up changing where over on Jig Street.
No, that's no problem.
You
Just
say
more
so.
time stretching this leg out.
How is it healing, by the way?
Damn near back to normal. I mean, still twinges once in a while, but
Doc does good work. Amazing what you can end up reattaching when you keep it on ice.
and this wasn't necessarily on ice.
Sorry, crude attempt at humor.
That was just me firing back at you. I think that's something we both stuck at.
I'll see you
in
when
a
we get
few.
here. She looks at her room, this unfurnished, cockroach-ridden cesspit. Outside of the room being bare. Drops her duffel bag off in a corner. There. All unpacked. And simply waits for Trix' arrival.
It's only a few minute drive from your apartment at Blunders to the iconic Jig Street, where even during the daytime you can get the pleasures of everything. And Slideye, you see that that Trix has rolled up in a motorcycle.
Yep.
Describe your
It's an
motorcycle
older
for us.
Apollo. Oh, it's a little beat up. It's probably still covered in all the dust from her time outside the city. Probably a recent attempt to go outside the city too. But about 10-year-old, it was an Apollo, I said it was.
Yep.
Yep, older Brennan Apollo. Multicolored from replacing parts here or there over the years. Just never got around to repainting it.
You know, I always end up expecting it to be your style, but then again. So, she hops on the back of the bike, putting her arms around the driver. Onward, noble steed.
And she'll take off.
You wind through the city streets. There's plenty of people on the streets who also walk predominantly everywhere they're going. Plenty of cars, and the exhaust of the chew out in the air. It's not like the open road where that scent of fuel doesn't necessarily follow you on the wind like it does in the city.
That was more fresh air. Took a while to get used to the lack of it here in the city.
Scent of exhaust and pollution and everything else under the sun, including trash that never gets picked up, depending where you're at. But you find yourself at the Coyote Cojo. The sort of lazy bar that you see the bartender, Pepe, is behind the bar washing some glasses. Just seems to be in a little bit of a conversation between himself and another person at the bar who's really just kind of shooting the shit. Not really talking about anything of any real importance. Do you find yourselves a table, or do you go ahead to the bar?
I go right to the bar.
Same.
You see that Pepe kind of looks over at the both of you. And what can I get you, ladies?
Pampa de Haywood.
Pampa de Haywood. He starts fixing a drink.
Yeah.
I had a better whiskey this time.
Are we celebrating something, chicas?
Enjoying the day.
To your leg.
He finishes making the drinks and says to you, "Salud."
Salud.
Salute.
And he goes back to serving other drinks around the bar.
Eventually, after taking a few sips, I end up walking over to a booth, something that's a little bit more private. Don't like all the people bumping into me, makes me nervous. Oh.
Yeah.
So, legs healing, getting ready for a new job lined up. Seems everything's coming back to you in spades.
If only it was that simple.
When
Really
is
don't
ready?
want to do another major job until I get other shit settled out.
Well, the Loup certainly needs to end up taking some time to repair anyway.
I don't know what I'm going to do with that girl.
Well, she wants to be the boss lady, and I'm not going to end up offering too many complaints. Besides, who are you going to trust in this city? Only one person you can, and even then, that's debatable.
Got that right. No, I was thinking going after a proper deck. How that last job was handled just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I was practically useless for you guys.
Well, don't start watering down your drinks with tears.
What was it like for you getting your first major upgrade?
Let's see. That would have been... Right. Lower faceplate makes the jawline a little bit more sleek. Ends up making it top fashion back in 68. Felt weird. You know, when your tongue's attached to something that's not really you. Had to relearn to swallow food after a bit, but once the swelling went down, damn near seamless. Then it was the upper plate, because eventually it started to end up turning into a case of, well, one side's aging, the other side isn't. Had to level that out, so full fit faceplate on the upper portion. Then we ended up having to doing. She looks down a bit and looks back at you. Enhancements. Yeah, it was a lot of tinkering. Not like the Ripper Docks out here. Honestly, some Ripper Docks, you can't tell the difference between a Ripper Docks the office and a scav den. Guess both qualify as chop shops when you think about it.
Seen a few of those.
Yeah, well, Ripper Doc got busted for selling used parts on the black market. After all, everybody loves the taste of actual meat. And especially when the customers don't ask too many questions.
Yeah, I remember that one. Just hearing about it.
Why ask?
A friend of mine's managed to find me a better deck. Problem is, it's not as simple as the one I currently use. More extensive to install it. Maybe just my nerves getting ahead of me.
We're talking about slicing into the head meat.
Yeah. There's not much I can do with the current deck.
And then if you get fried, well, that goes directly in. Ooh. I guess the positive side is if it ends up going, it's going to fry your brain before it ends up doing anything else. All things considered, I mean, electricity right back to the brain, not the worst way to go.
Yeah, it's that, or I get a complete arm replacement.
You do have lovely fingers. Who knows? So, what are you asking me for? It's gonna hurt? What to expect?
All of it? I mean, installing what I have now was nothing. But this is just... I don't know, my nerves are just up there with it.
Nate do that one?
Yeah. Nate, I prefer, does everything.
Yeah. Nate does do everything. Well, if that's the case, first thing you're going to end up noticing is that everything's just going to feel off. Don't know what, didn't have as much modified up here. That I tried to keep intact for the most part. Not that it matters that much in the end, but first thing you're going to end up wanting to do is handle the swelling. Don't go on blood thinners despite the pain, because painkillers are tricky, and blood thinners kind of suck when you are dealing with internal bleeding inside of your personal CPU. Nice part about having an arm or a leg, for the most part, the nerve endings are dead and then just plugged back in. The only tightness he feels in the actual connection, but in the head meat, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Outside of that little port, can't say as I end up doing much in that regard. Biggest thing you're going to end up feeling, I imagine, would probably be something along the lines of feeling like your equilibrium's off. You'll just notice it in the small things. Headaches. Probably end up getting a little bit of a dizzy spell, but hey, who am I to judge? Then you're going to end up wanting to make sure that you end up having at least on hand some. Well, she pulls out a small injector and puts it directly into her arm and shoots a load. Blockers end up helping a lot. Eventually, you're going to treat them like smoking. Except you really, when you're without them, you really can't live without them. But I guess that depends on how deep you want to go.
Should tell you something, I've been avoiding it this long.
Now, in your profession, I don't think you can avoid not getting chipped in at some point.
Yeah, that's kind of the realization I had after that last one. All it took was one program grabbing me. I couldn't move.
You got stuck in some personal security here set, I imagine has to suck.
Lost a leg for it. Lou was still in danger. Couldn't help her out. Had to be carried out of there. Is Orvan still running that high?
He's still running, but... well, let's just say that it's been a interesting night. Man can cook, but damned if I gotta end up here figuring out on what the hell to end up bringing for ingredients, because half of the stuff he ends up talking about is just in German. I have no idea what he's talking about.
I swear, I'm gonna have Jason look for a translator for German so we can just understand him.
Oh, it's not the translator problem that does it. It's just he keeps coming up with ingredient lists that I have no idea what he's talking about. I don't know if it's a case of MedTech had something to end up bringing in special, or if they end up eating specifically import, and that's just what he's known for. Heaven forbid you could take him to a ramen shop.
We'll get to him eventually. That I can promise you.
But you got something else on your mind?
It just keeps circling in my head.
What? The fact that you lost a leg and of having your one and only fixer about to bite the dust before she even has a chance to be here properly vetted on Jig Jig?
The whole scenario. But you've already helped quite a bit.
No, I ended up screwing up and you ended up getting your leg taken off.
Oh, I mean in this conversation, we all fucked up that job.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you don't have the right hardware. And the right hardware requires eddies. So, circling that drain again.
Yeah, that's why I moved in with Jason.
Well, that
saves
sounds
me
cute.
money.
That sounds cute.
Oh yeah, sure. Moving with Blunder. That's been fun. Man
So
never
you're
leaves the
fucking?
apartment. Not yet. He's cute. Gotta wear him down first.
Oh, please.
Oh, come on, you've met him. Have you met Nate's son?
A few times.
Yeah, so now you see what I'm dealing with.
Well, I know what you're doing. I'm just not sure on how an old hag like you ever scored his kid.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Besides, when it really comes down to it, job's a job. We had to end up dealing with Arasaka. In all honesty, it
Yeah.
could have ended up going out a lot worse, and meanwhile, Die Hard ends up calling us right up to the penthouse suite, luxury treatment. Really, you should feel honored.
Should, but it's a little unnerving being up there.
Why is that? Too used to open road?
Something like that. That and just not my scene for being down here.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of quaint. She holds up her drink, taking the local flavors. Why soy sauce? I have no idea. Sounds like just a good way to ruin a drink, but hey, one in Haywood.
That's why I drink. That's why I stick with the classics. Tried that once, got sick.
Not a tequila person.
Nah, can't stand the taste of that one.
Even reposado? Come on.
Yeah, we didn't have that one out on the road. Never picked up on it.
Best tequila in the land, if you believe the hype. Black spice rum, lime, and a little bit of seeded jalapeno with a splash of soy sauce.
Yeah, I'll just stick with my whiskey.
Yeah. Maybe that's the reason you ended up having a little bit of a nerve when it comes to implants. You like to keep things basic. You're not going to be able to keep that up, though, if you're having a little bit of your head chipped in. I know what comes up next. Next thing you're going to end up wanting to do is camo. Because if you're going to be staying still or operating that while they're trying not to be killed, it's probably best you're just not seen, so you're probably going to have to invest in that. Synth skins come a long way in that regard. Then you're probably going to have to end up figuring out, I don't know. Well, I guess the irony is I was expecting your legs to be lopped off for something that ended up affording you a little bit more run or jump. Yeah. It's a lot easier to get away from people when you can jump 3 stories in the air without even thinking about it.
Imagine it would be.
And then you're probably going to start thinking about maybe a coolant deck because you're going to start running hot when you end up doing that. Probably going to end up having the spine replaced after a bit just because you realize you're carrying more hardware than anything and you need the reinforcements. Then you're going to end up realizing that it's going to be more effective to end up having your coolant system be a part of your lung capacity. So every time you breathe out, you just end up cooling off the CPU inside your little new brain. When you end up doing that, then you're going to end up realizing, well, why end up relying on biological lungs, then end up deciding to end up replacing your actual lung capacity with an active pressor, well, on and on it goes.
Is it really that easy to go down that spiral?
Practicality, business of the job. Whatever the job you have, there's always some cyberware to meet it. It's part of the game. A little bit of skin and a little bit of soul. Told that's why a lot of rapper docs listen to jazz.
I get that soul back in there.
That or brings a little bit of comfort realizing that they're stripping off the human condition one swipe at a time.
Rats, I think you just helped me figure out which route I'm going to go.
No.
Like you. I'll keep this intact as much as possible.
Yeah, well, difference is I'm not plugging myself into the net at any given time. And I don't end up having any particular links that are going to end up putting me to the black wall.
Yeah. But, like you were just saying, there might be a couple more things I can do with an arm. Versus just hooking it up straight to the head. Myself a bit more defense.
Is this one of those cases where you're end up asking me to go on a shopping trip with you?
Gods no. Jason's already found one of each, just waiting for me to give the go-ahead to get it. Never realized how connected all the netrunners in the city were.
Well, it could
really
be
dig
worse.
into it.
Wait until you end up coming into the realization that that little port of yours might actually be a replacement if replacing a small bit of your spine right there where it ends up connecting to the brain, meaning that quite literally you have a piece of metal lodged between your brain and the rest of the spinal column.
You know, I think I remember Nate telling me about that one. Just trying to push that out of my mind. Thank you for bringing that back to the forefront.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing.
Give her arm a light swat.
Well, could be worse. I mean, somebody could decide that when you're hacking into their systems, they decide to hack into you and decide to end up pulling the receptors on that one. Maybe just fry a little bit of the hardware and leave you in a quadriplegic state, unable to hook up to the net, unable to end up calling for help, unable to end up reaching the comms. I had to end up doing a lot of jobs with shit like that. Different runner, though. Oh, yeah. You can make these things backfire in a heartbeat.
No wonder you've been keeping a close eye on me.
Oh, tell me that you're not. Tell me this isn't news to you.
Oh, it's not. Never done any major jobs that required thinking about it constantly. But changing the game.
Well, if I keep end up chipping in a little bit more, I'm gonna have to end up looking into some protection myself, in which case my head meat's probably also gonna end up on a slice. Wonder if somebody's gonna gobble that up on the black market. Wonder what I'd go for.
She's gonna look her up and down for a moment. I can imagine quite a few eddies.
A little slice of brain never hurt anybody, right? I mean,
No, of course not.
What's the old line? Of all the things I lost, I miss my mind the most.
Yeah, I believe that's about it.
So what's really got you is wondering what bits you're gonna miss or how it's gonna end up stumbling down the hole.
Yeah. How far am I going to end up pushing it?
Depends on the person. I've heard of cases where somebody only ended up having 4 or 5 implants, and that's all they can end up taking. Something just broke. And then you got freaks in nature that turn into legends and Arasaka hit killing machines. And they, for some odd reason, still stick around.
I hope to God we never end up on his list.
Well, we already fucked with Arasaka, so let's not pretend that we didn't invite it. And then we also end up having Die Hard, who now knows us by name.
Mm-hmm.
So the possibility, while it isn't high, I wouldn't end up calling it a complete zero at this point. I'm going to guess around 1.5.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Probably higher for Medboy, given his history.
No, that's going to be a different story. If I'm betting anything, it's going to be Arasaka Ninjas. Smasher, you send in when you want to make a statement. Arasaka is not big on having to buy more PR than they have to. After all, cuts into the yearly budget.
You know what? 500 says it's going to be Constanza himself.
I think it's going to be Constanza. Alright, just to be clear, are we talking about Medboy being put in the ground, or are we here talking about who tries to hit him first?
Who tries to hit him first? Him going into the ground is damn near guaranteed, regardless.
I'll take that bet. Anybody else comes after him? 500 eddies. I'm not shy about you buying me some new legs.
It's a deal then. Got a bet going.
Besides, when it comes to Medboy, he's got other problems to deal with.
Oh? Like what?
The idea that he wanted to end up being my supplier. She ends up pulling out that needle she used beforehand.
Damn. He's really taking on the job, isn't he?
Enough that he wants to end up being my personal nursemaid.
Sounds like you almost have it made.
Made. Are you kidding? I'll probably end up killing him before he hit Costanza. And likely it's going to be over a pot of the spaghetti. Or some Wiener Schnitzel or something like that. Who knows? Hell. Besides, Trix, when you really break it down, either become a legend or you die old, and the betting odds are not high on the latter. But then again, we keep taking gunk jobs. Have we had one job that even went remotely close to smooth yet? No, out of the two, we've had you and me both in a back alley, making Medboy have to end up taking pot shots at a gangbanger. And then we end up here deciding to end up busting into a warehouse where we end up having to end up dealing with some maelstrom bullshit and other things. Still think about that.
One went a little bit smoother than the first.
Says you.
Oh, relatively.
Jubjub's dead. I would say relatively is exactly that. You end up piecing out. And don't know. Been thinking about him a bit.
You knew him?
We knew of each other. He was pissed about an incident of mine, and well, good news is he got to come up in the world a bit. Look at him running his own crew with a fancy new Sandevistan. I had half a mind to end up taking that to Nate and say, put it in me, Doc. You can skip the
And
full
then
fight.
you'd be the one face down Hirosaka.
Maybe. But I try my best not to chip in stuff that I don't know the full specs for. I'm kind of
Smart move.
junk. Nah. Paranoid. This model has a particular deficiency that when trying to stretch my wrist out of habit, well, unfortunately, it has a lot more give than my old wrist, which causes the spring mechanism to end up releasing, and congratulations, it's now deployment.
Any way you can fix it?
It's a model issue.
Damn.
The T2X 10s have always ended up having issues with that. It's one of the reasons why the line was almost recalled, but hey, it turned enough of a profit and didn't end up causing enough harm to end up making a stink for the lawyers. Lawyers got a payday, a lot of settlements, but still earned more in selling of it than they did lose out of the lawsuit, so huge win. Besides, if you're gonna end up going with any kind of ads, I end up going Militech at this point. Arasaka just leaves a bad taste in my mouth, but hey, if the mods are good, the mods are good.
Fair point.
But then you start thinking about it. Can you even guess where half of me is right now?
Wouldn't even begin to hazard that. Would you stop?
One, I try. I really do. No, it's the problem of just realizing that for all you know, pieces of you are scattered across the globe and you would never know because, ooh, shiny.
Yeah. I know that thought. Not just the current stuff I'm getting in, stuff I've had. Hell, even stuff from my family, I just wonder where it's at. Maybe I've come across it.
What about the kid? What do you really think?
Hard to put my finger on her. Troublemaker. The only reason why I keep an eye on her is because I promised Nate I would. Caught her one too many times trying to steal from him. I think out of the four of us, she's gonna burn out faster. Either on her own, or she's gonna get too cocky. Someone's gonna take her out.
What happens if we're there in the process? I mean, I know you made the promise and all, but me and Orvan aren't exactly here to babysit her.
Depends on the situation, I guess. If I can help her, I'll try to help her. But
Do you actually care?
part of me does, yeah.
Well, let's hope they don't snip that out after they end up giving you the install, right? Pretty sure
Yeah,
empathy is more frontal cortex at that point, but hey, who knows? For all we
human
know,
mind is the human mind.
yeah, for all we know, you have a single brain cell, and it's shared. So
Tend not to share it anymore. People
Yeah,
you used to
well.
share it with aren't here anymore.
Well, I don't know. Nate's still around. And you don't mind him taking a scalpel into the back of your head. And it's not like he's going to change you into a through and through job, right?
Yeah, that's not sharing a brain cell, though.
You're right. It'll be fucked right out of your skull at that point.
Exactly.
So, yeah. I still remember those implants when I ended up taking a look, catalog back in the 40s. Wild stuff, wild stuff. Knew one guy who ended up demanding that his entire head be reduced down to he had about a 5-inch girth. Yeah, just a big swinging dick on top of a neck.
Please tell me they turned him down. Or
Nope.
did they actually go through with it?
Nope, didn't survive the procedure. As it turns out, trying to move your actual brain into the top end of your chest might end up inducing some complications. Who would have known? But he wanted to end up knowing what the view was like, so he said he was going for it.
Some people. Remember coming across the older catalogs out on the road. Some of the guys were like, oh, hey, yeah, that looks great.
Alright, I'll start putting together a kit list for you. Order a priority. You just keep telling me what you need on the job. I can only end up telling you the stuff that's more external. You're going to have to end up working with demons and black ice.
And that's why I've got Jason. He's helping me on that end.
Yeah, well, that's cute. That being said, my drink's empty, so I'm gonna go and get myself a refill. She stands up, starts heading back to the bar.
Which you do see that Pepe is still there.
I was trying to end up giving you a chance to do a scene transition, as that would be a perfect time to end up giving the Loup some screen time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's see.
Sorry, I was being a little too subtle on that one.
Yes, a little. So Lou, you're taking a few days to recover a little bit when it comes to that, and since this is a few days later, you are welcome to increase your health by your body statistic for 3 days.
Ooh.
Yes.
Oh, that's maximum. Yay.
Yay! You're at max health.
Yay. I'm a real girl again.
You are. But in that, you over the last few days, some things just seemed a little bit off about Jessica. And maybe with Sam as a result as well. And so, when he comes to you, when noticing that you're kind of up and about and a little bit more active as a result today, hey, how are you faring?
Yeah, so I think whatever plastic contraption is over her arm, like doing the mending, I think she's probably supposed to go back to Nathan to like get it taken off, probably. But like, just like a poor kid, like soaking their cast and like taking it off themselves. She's like got a pair of like tin shears, and she's like cranking through it, like in the bathroom.
God, don't you? Oh, I've got tools for that. He
She's
goes
like,
goes back to his toolbox and starts pulling out something that's actually going to cut through that whatever it is that you have under your arm.
yeah, plastic or whatever it is.
You could have just asked.
Thanks. Sorry, did you want something?
Ugh. I know you and Jessica don't get along all that well, but the fuck is up with her right now?
What's up with Jessica? What's up with Jessica? I haven't noticed anything's up with Jessica. Is she moping around more than usual? What are you talking about?
I don't know. She's busier. Like she's got more work or something. I guess I try not to ask her.
I
too
mean,
much
more
about
work
it.
is good, right? Like
Well-
what? Like
Well, yeah, but I don't know. The other night she came home with bruises. Or I
Well-
woke up and I found out, like, I saw that she was, like, wearing long sleeves and it's fucking summer.
Okay, Sammy boy. I think it's time for the birds and the bees talk. You see, when a pimp doesn't like his girl very much, he hurts her. He hits her until she does what he wants her to, and yeah, it's not a good system, Sam. I don't know what to tell you.
What do I do about it? I mean, I don't want her to get hurt, but I'm worried about her every fucking night. Somebody could just randomly pull out a piece and just zero her. Flatlined instantly, like anybody else. And I wouldn't know what to do about that. Sure as shit doesn't have trauma coverage. Hell, there probably doesn't even have basic ambulance meat wagon coverage either.
I mean, you don't, right, Sam?
Fuck no. Can't afford that shit.
I mean, hell, I don't even think Reagan can afford that shit. Let's be honest here.
Reagan will at least go see
We're
a
black.
Ripper.
We're block kids. We make do. Okay. So, are you asking me to check in on her, Sam?
No. Just... I don't know, I thought maybe it was a girl thing.
Girl thing.
I don't know. A thing brought... I don't know. Look.
Yeah, when I get my menses, yeah, I get bruises all over my arms. I even like wear long sweatshirts so that I can hide the track marks that I'm using to escape reality. Yeah, that's what I do. Girl
Okay.
thing.
Sure. Right. Sure.
Listen, I'm sorry, Sam. I don't mean to be condescending. I've been a little on edge.
About what? What have you got going on there on edge?
Everything's coming in a lot clearer than it usually does. Hard to tone down the colors. It's hard to explain.
I noticed new eyes. They tweaking out on you or something?
No, they're just weird.
I can adjust that.
No, Nathan did a good job. They're just playing havoc on my head.
Implants will do that. Like anything more than fashion wear, and you're looking at possible headaches, fevers, dizziness.
What about spontaneous felonious assault of a Ripperdoc?
Spontaneous felonious assault of a Ripperdoc.
Is that a side effect that they put in the books there?
I don't
Sandy
know.
boy?
I don't know. Sounds a little like Cyber Psycho to me, he says a little jokingly.
Well, it's a good thing that's hypothetical, and I didn't actually do that. And nothing else happened because of that. And look, yeah, so Jessica's probably out there working, right?
Yeah, possibly. Or getting work done.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, oh boy. I hope it's the former, not the latter. And anyway, I think I know where to find her, so I'll head on out.
Look, I just want her to be okay.
Me too, Sam.
Yeah.
Not just for your sake either.
Oh, for your sake, because she brings in eddies.
Not for my sake either, Sam.
Lou caring about another individual? Oh my god.
Not a new character trait, right?
Well, I mean, you're usually a you first kind of person, but you know, this is nice.
I just try to keep it to myself, Sam.
You should let it out more.
She gets in his face and she says, "You keep it to yourself too, okay?"
Yeah, well, if you let it out more, you'd have more practice. Might actually make friends.
I've got friends.
Talking about your merc friends? He says in air quotes.
Well, there's them, there's you, there's the kids. I'd like to think that Nathan and I are getting closer. Every time I sneak out of there with something.
You keep sneaking out of there with something that's going to end up getting cooked into, you know, some kind of drug, or it's going to end up on somebody's brain dance feed and they're going to go whacked out of their gourd.
Yeah, it's a beautiful world, isn't it?
I guess everybody escapes in their own way.
Yeah, speaking of which, I'm going to escape out of this conversation.
Sure, okay. I gotta head out anyway. I've got a gig to get to.
Sorry, real quick. How How are the Valentinos treating you right now?
Fine. So long as
Well,
I get work
yeah?
done, you know? They
Okay,
got,
good.
they got, they got no reason to really shit on me. I'm just the car guy.
I mean, I know they've been... Yeah, I know they've been acting on a turn,
Oh, yeah,
shaking people down.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
just, you know...
Thankfully, that didn't happen in my neighborhood. So,
Okay.
it was like
Well, you
3
know,
or
I
4
had
blocks
to
down.
give the kids protection money, so...
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, everything's bueno, but, you know, post gunfight, you know, with some other guys, disagreements and all of that, you know, just stay in the garage and wait till you don't hear any more gunshots. That's my motto.
All right, well, you keep your head down, Sam. Don't worry about anything on the block. I'm gonna fix that too.
Okay. I guess I'll see you around.
All right, Sam.
All right. So where are you off to, Loup?
Yeah, I guess I'm going to the corner where I saw, or where I tracked, where I tracked,
Jessica before?
Jessica.
Yeah.
Yeah, before, just to see if she's working there. I guess that's stop number 1 if she's there.
Yeah, she's there. She's with.
Park a distance off. Mm-hmm.
So is that with the intention of swinging by, or is that just to see that she's not flatlined yet?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna pull up on her. Fuck me. I don't have the fucking money for this play, but I'm gonna do it anyway. No, I have $4. God damn it.
Oh no! Lou
Okay,
has only
okay, it's okay.
$4.
It's okay. I got a plan. It's okay. I got a plan. It's okay. I got a plan.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna pull up on her.
She just shakes her head as she's looking at you and just kind of seems to fold her arms. The turtleneck that she's wearing at the moment seems a little out of season.
Right. Solid. I go, hey baby, you got time for a date?
You can see she rolls her eyes, but she's feigning like she hasn't noticed you.
I wave $4 at her. Four Eddies.
Look, $4
Come
is
on,
$4.
I'm paying.
God. And she starts walking towards your car.
Yeah.
What do you want, Lou?
Get in. Come on, look legit.
She starts leaning over the vehicle, kind of looking like she's playing along a little bit. Like
Wonderful.
And then she starts pulling around to the passenger side of the car after a few moments.
Fantastic. Good job. That's how it's done, sweetie. Okay, you're gonna get in. We're gonna drive off like we've negotiated a proper deal, and then when we're gonna come back, I'll give you what I got. You're gonna pretend that I was broke, and you had to beat me up and just take whatever I had. Okay. You can take this, and I don't know. I got some. Oh, here, blue glass on me. You can take that too. That'll be worth something.
Blue glass? God damn it.
Look, it's something.
What do you
You
want?
can say I gave it to you. We were gonna get high together, and you just kept it.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, whatever story. Sure, just drive.
Great. I peel out.
What do you want?
Oh, see the city, have a little company, get the tensions of the week off my mind. The usual.
Sure. Sam wasn't available to take care of all of your personal needs.
Sarcasm again, Jessica, not your strong suit.
Neither yours.
I think I've got a pretty dry wit. I'm getting distracted. Sam wanted me to check on you.
Okay, so you're checking on me.
Just checking on you.
When I could be making 100 eddies right now.
Okay, but were you making 100 eddies right now?
No, not actually.
Okay, so you're gonna make 4-ish eddies, maybe 12 if you sell the glass to another customer.
Ugh, I don't want your eddies. It's
Okay,
just going to the same place
well-
anyway, either way.
Well, yeah, you're pimp, but that's a different conversation. So, who's beating you up?
And it's probably going to happen again tonight because my boss saw you the other night when you came to pick me
Yeah,
up. Or at least cause a scene.
yeah.
Cause a scene.
He saw us talking,
He saw us talking.
and then he saw what happened to Fingers.
Mm-hmm. I know what happened
He
to
knows
Fingers.
you're connected to that.
Yeah. Fingers was the one who installed my implants. And you've kind of jeopardized everything. So, yeah, I'm a little overdressed for work today. But I'm trying to make the best of it in a situation where I don't want to look like I fucking work for the worst boss in the world.
Even though I'm sure you work for the worst boss in the world.
That goes without saying.
How much do you owe him?
A couple thousand. And that's just to my boss. Fingers is another story.
Yeah, I may have been a little misguided with my attempts at getting rid of your debt to Fingers.
You think? Look, I get what you're trying to do, Lou, but you're not one of the mocks.
I don't know what I was trying to do exactly.
You were sticking up for joy toys and dolls in a very self-centered sort of way, in that you're not a joy toy or a doll or a dancer or any kind of, you're not even a BD star. So why?
So she pulls the gun out of her holster and she hands it to her and she says, "Well then, do you want to do it?"
No. Fuck. I don't know how to use that thing.
And I do. And that's why I did it. It's not because I was trying to take the glory. Just because I thought it was gonna help somebody. Or I mean, at the very least, gonna hurt somebody that needed it. Have you seen him?
Who? Fingers?
Or whatever's left of him?
No, because he closed up shop for 3 days.
Sorry it wasn't permanent.
Where else are Joy Toys gonna get implanted? We certainly can't go to any reputable doc. Even the reputable docs have secondhand shit that's like going for thousands of eddies. And if you want to make it in a market where looks is everything, you gotta be willing to shill. Or at least compromise. Because, you know, maybe one day I'll actually be on a BD.
And then... what? Special clientele?
Life of luxury.
Special orders?
You know, be able to make enough off of some really great scroll. And be set for a while. And look, I'm not talking about XBD shit, because I'm not getting into that. Not at all. But like...
You might be, and you might not even know it right now. I mean...
I don't have a scroll chip. I don't see how that would be possible.
Yeah, I don't know. Some darker part of my brain kicked on for a second. I don't know.
I get it. You're worried. And it's cute. You're worried about me because I am important to Sam, and Sam's important to you too.
I'm worried about you because you're there in front of me to see every day. I'm not just worried about you because of what'll happen to Sam if something happens to you. I'm worried about you because you deserve better.
I think that's the nicest thing you've ever said to me. I'm flabbergasted. Because that's unusual, but... thanks, I guess.
There's a better world out there. And it's possible for everyone. And I just...
Street kids like us
I
don't
would-
get far. But just make the best of it. It's not like we had the opportunity to go to a public school, right?
No. Me either, but I still wonder what could have happened if things were different.
Like a corpo life? Or what about going out on the open road and saying goodbye to Night City forever? Just living off the desert. Out in some buttfuck nowhere in Nevada.
I don't think that life's very good either. If it was, Trix wouldn't have ended up back here either.
You ever wonder what happens? Nomads don't leave their clans.
Nope. They sure don't.
So what is she doing in Night City? What do you think she did? To get exiled?
I worry more about what she lost. What she'd be willing to do to fill that emptiness again.
Well, you'd have to ask her on that one. I don't know nomads well enough personally to know one way or the other. I've just met the couple that have made it to the city, and well, they got booted from their clans because they did horrible things. You'd be surprised how much pillow talk actually goes on. One guy even got extremely weepy because he was like very broken up about the fact that he lost the lottery.
You know, Jessica, you should keep your ear to the ground. And let me know if you hear anything useful.
Oh, well, what do you deem useful? Maybe maybe that'll pay better.
Well, maybe there's no knowing, right? Maybe we should just have these talks every once in a while.
I mean,
Give you an outlet to expel some of this garbage that you live through.
Well, we could always talk at home.
Maybe it would give me a better idea of what it's like.
Sure you want to know?
I don't want to feel like an outsider.
Okay.
So yeah, I want to know it intimately. Because that's the only way I'm going to be able to help. Genuinely. Instead of, the wrong way.
Okay. Well, is there something you want to know specifically? Because I'm not going into client details. That's a confidentiality thing on my part.
I wouldn't want to get you put in any more danger anyway.
Yeah, I'd probably get axed. But if I hear anything I don't know, interesting, Not that I get very many interesting customers, but you never know. Who knows, a corpo suit might come walking down my alley one day and pick me.
So I know you gotta be getting back.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask you one more thing.
Shoot.
I know you're tough enough to take them, but is there anything I can do to stop your boss from taking out his anger on you?
So long as I'm making him at ease, he really doesn't care. He doesn't actually give two shits that my hip's out of whack. He just cares that I'm making him money.
And I need to not show up on the street anymore.
Might be a good idea. If we want to have these talks, we should have them at home. But thanks. I know it's been awkward between us the last couple days. You lying in bed, more or less recovering this whole time. Oh, I did see that you got the cast taken off.
Yeah.
Tip-top shape now, huh?
Yep. Fighting form.
Who's your Ripper?
Oh, Nathan. On the block.
On our block?
Thereabouts.
Does he charge a lot?
Fair. Trix has a line of credit with him.
I don't think he does that for just anybody.
No.
Well, if I save up enough eddies, maybe I can actually get some of this shit fixed. By a real Ripper Doc.
Yeah, and, you know, I put everything in this last job into my eyes and supplies, but after this next job, whatever comes down the pipe, I'd be willing to help out with that.
I don't want to owe you too.
Consider it interest-free.
I'll think about it.
Maybe I'll slip on rent a couple of months.
I'll think about it.
You do that. Loup puts it in gear and drives around a way. Drops her off not at her corner exactly, but like a short distance away from it. She says, "Okay, now slam the door real good and yell at me. Call me a bum."
She just kind of giggles. She kind of takes in a deep breath and puts on her actor face, and she steps out of the vehicle very, very angry looking, slams the door, calls you every name under the sun in Spanish and in English, and then just walks away from the car.
Yeah, I peel out and call her a bitch.
And maybe the last thing that we as the audience see is Jessica just mouthing the words, "Thanks, Lou," under her breath, before stomping hurriedly, angrily back to her original place on the lovely corners of Jig Street. So, Lou, what's next on your agenda?
Oh, boy. I wasn't planning anything else. I was just gonna sort of hang out and heal until we got to the heist that Orvan wanted to do.
Right, and I'm kind of planning for that for next session when he's able to make it.
What's our time? It's 11. I could go and see what Reagan McAllister's do. Oh, you know what I could do? Is, if I've got the time, I could go do some reconnaissance on that by myself.
Ooh. Okay. Well, what we can do is we can take a quick break, and when we come back, we can do more of what you all might want to do, and kind of plan that for the second half of tonight's session. So, with that being said, be right back, everybody. Welcome back, everyone, to Night City Stargazers, Episode 9. And we rejoin Trix as, after the sort of early morning, afternoonish drinks that she had with Slideye at the Coyote Coho, she made her way back to the apartment, found that Blunder was still surfing on his personal terminal, and decided he needed some fresh air. So where else does a nomad go but to the nomad clan that she's possibly being watched by, and bringing Blunder along with her? He's riding as passenger on the back of your bike as you're speeding across the open highways of the outskirts of Night City, where it goes from cityscape into desert. The scrublands full of cactus and scrub brush and wild desert plains grasses. But it doesn't smell like exhaust. It doesn't smell like chew. It smells like a desert should. It smells like sand. It smells like air. The only real sounds that you hear on the road right now are maybe the occasional passing vehicle as you drive about 20-ish minutes from the middle of the city out into the scrub brush. And Jason, of course, is complaining about the entire fact that he is being dragged along to who knows where, out in the middle of nowhere. You're not getting all the way to the point of the Night City the Night City sort of state line, as it's sort of called, because no, that's a checkpoint, and where you're going is inside the checkpoints. Now, where you're going is a camp. A camp where a good friend of yours runs a little bar. So not the first time that you're having drinks today, either.
Nah. It's just one of those days. Day to relax, sit back, enjoy a few drinks with some people. Her own version of bar hopping.
And you stop.
Yep, go on.
Oh, you stop, kind of on the outskirts of the camp. You see that there are some people who are kind of going about their business, who seem to be eyeing you a little bit strangely.
She just ignores them. Come on.
Where are we going?
See a friend of mine. Got to see a lot of your world. You get to see part of mine.
Okay. Well, it doesn't concern you that they're kind of looking at us a little strange? I mean, you're at least wearing a leather jacket.
They usually give me a strange look. I don't actively ride anymore, remember?
Okay. Weird that we're here then. Okay. Well, lead the way.
She'll lead him over to the little bar. Molly.
Hey. Long time no see.
Yeah, I figured it's been long enough I could stop in.
And who's this?
Friend of mine. Blunder.
Blunder.
Yeah, he's the one I was telling you about last time.
Oh, God. Why do you keep introducing me as that? The name's Jason. Hi, Jason. So this is the Jason, then.
Yeah, this is him. Finally dragged him out of his apartment.
Oh, goodness, she's told me a lot about you. Oh, boy. You just hear him just kind of sigh as he kind of walks up to what essentially is kind of a makeshift bar that is kind of housed in maybe what used to be the back of a semi.
That's not all bad.
Well, okay, then what do we got to drink out here? You have two choices. You have beer, which she brings out a couple of bottles of what you know, Trix, to be the shittiest beer that can be possibly found in Night City. Or we've got this, and she puts down a half-empty bottle of Senson tequila. Take your pick.
Fuck that beer. Why, Molly? Why? Every time you betray me with that.
Look, I get what I can. You can either drink it, or you can drink, you know, the fresh water that comes out of the fucking schisms out in the city.
I think I'll stick with the English, please. Rather Spanish in this case. I think I'll stick with the tequila this time around.
Atta girl. And she puts away one of the bottles of beer and hands you the whole bottle of the Sansone and looks at Blender. So it's beer, right? And he just nods, cracks it open, and starts chugging it.
Don't see how you can stand that shit. You can take a drink of the tequila.
Molly just kind of grins at you. A little proud of herself. So, you've been away for a little while. What brings you back, dearie?
Thinking things over. Realized I hadn't been out here for a while and checked in. And again, you guys haven't had any real jobs for me lately either.
Well, we really haven't had jobs ourselves either, so we haven't really had the necessary call for Merc.
Shame. Miss those jobs.
Well, you know, like I said, it's been a little light on the actual work that we need either. I mean, aside from the usual supplies in and out, you know, grabbing and going and grabbing, you know. And that we can mostly take care of ourselves. Saul has everything under control.
Of course he does. How is he anyway?
Same as usual. Grumpy. And trying to keep everything from falling apart.
Still miffed at me?
You and Pan Am. Again.
He should be thankful we don't work together.
How you two miss
Can't
each
imagine the
other?
headache. Can't imagine the headache would give him then.
Yeah. Indeed.
Just quiet day today. Figured I'd come out here, hang out for a little bit. I'd bring him out with me.
I don't know that Saul would be all too kind about an outsider being at the camp at the moment.
Something going on?
Raffins.
Other than, you know...
Always
Saul?
Raffins.
They've been stirring up trouble again.
Oh, you know it. We're always fighting for the same spots. And when they hit us, and then when we hit them, and it's just a back and forth that always happens on these desert plains. You should be all too familiar with that.
Yeah, still have peace of mind to fucking go after a certain group. But... well...
Blunder just looks a little confused. But he doesn't say anything. Just drinks his beer.
There's no use to think about that right now.
Well,
After the shock wore off, the anger set in, and don't think it's quite gone yet.
5 stages of grief, baby. You gotta deal with your shit the way you deal with it.
Jason, this woman took care of me the second I got here. and proceeds to bully me relentlessly.
Like a sister would.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't know anything about that. Oh, but he's cute.
Yeah, sure doing. He is, though, isn't he?
Oh, God. You see Blunder just kind of turn away and try to look at something else outside in the, almost lifeless-ish desert that surrounds Night City, but finding that he doesn't see anything of interest out there either, and maybe is getting a dirty look, and goes back to facing the makeshift bar. Maybe blushing a little from embarrassment.
You know, I'm going to wear him down eventually. With this.
Wear me down how? He speaks up.
I'm going to draw you out of your shell is what I'm going to do.
What? You're one to talk about shells.
Yeah, that happens at life on the road. You have no excuse.
There we are, blaming each other for each other's faults.
Yeah, I'm just giving you shit is what I'm doing.
Well, little word of advice for you, Trix. You might not want to let Saul catch him here.
Speaking of, where is he?
The usual
Currently.
spot.
Well, if he's in his usual spot, he might not have seen me come in with him.
Why not? But you know, rumors are gonna get going. You know, family.
Yeah, I know. Figured we'd have a drink here and then get out. Before he, starts coming over.
Is this really all you wanted to just plop him in front of me and tell him and show off your cute little boy toy and then, you know, zip out of here like dust on the wind?
Maybe. I also wanted to see if you did have any jobs. Like I said, I kind of miss doing them out here. But
Well,
you
not
set yourself there,
at the
dried up
moment.
right now. Yeah.
But I have your number, and Saul has your number, and I'm sure he'll give you a call if something were to come up. You haven't, well, you're family, but you're not family. You're both.
I know, Saul's been patient with me. I know the way he tells it, I'm working for everyone in the city itself. But everyone knows the real story. So.
Jason just looks at you. The real story?
Think I should tell him, Molly?
That's on you,
The
Chica.
exact reason I don't ride?
I'm
I'll
not
tell
one
you
to
when we
tell
get
you
back
your
home.
past. Alright. Then,
It's easier enough to tell you when I can get my hands on the patches.
okay. He kind of chugs the last of his beer.
She finishes off her drink and pays Molly quite a bit for at least her silence to Saul.
She kind of makes a zipping motion over her mouth and tucks the cash eddies that you've handed her into her pocket.
Shame I can't pay everyone else to stay quiet. I know a lot of people here don't like me missing shit.
Well, I like you anyway. So,
Saul at least tolerates me.
Saul tolerates everyone.
exactly the point.
Well, just keep your chin up.
I'll come out here and see you again soon. On my own this time.
Yeah, this way you can stay.
Yeah, this is just more of a spur of the moment thing anyway.
Very spur of the moment. Lots of dust in the face.
You know, there's one way to get around that.
Yeah, it's a full face helmet, and you didn't give me one.
Ah, see, that's not fun though. I got to just go faster.
He just groans and stands up from the stool that was at the bar. Pleasure to meet you, Molly. And she says, pleasure to meet you too, Blunder. Giving him a cheeky smile.
I'm gonna get up and give Molly a quick hug before following him back to the bike.
Alright. Leaving Molly behind as you continue to maybe get a couple of looks from very distant cousins.
Giving them a wave on the way out.
And they wave politely back to you.
Probably sees Saul looking out at her and she's just, hi, quick wave, leaving.
Seems to be busy with something else as you drive off on the bike back towards the city.
Take the long way home.
Taking the long way home. You get back to the apartment. And it's oddly quiet in the apartment. Even though there's lots of noise maybe going on outside, it's relatively quiet, which keeps all of the city noise from really getting in. So, you mind explaining what you meant by that?
You know as well as I do, Nomad doesn't just leave their pack. Right?
Yeah, so they say.
Honestly surprised you haven't asked me about it before now.
It's none of my business, unless you make it my business, and that it is.
She's gonna go to the dresser and pull out the patches, hand them over. Family I used to ride for. My grandparents started it.
Were they
The reason I don't ride anymore is because they're gone.
gone? Like they left?
No.
Or
You heard Molly talking about the raffin?
yeah. I don't know what she meant by that.
Nomad's version of scavs. Night raids are a terrifying thing.
It's gotta be tough. Being out there, being just out in the middle of nowhere, really. And
It was, but it was a good life.
with the risk of getting attacked.
Same risk here in the city. Attacked by Maelstrom, attacked by scavs. They're gone. Because we got unlucky one night. We had just left the checkpoint. Got as far as we could, just setting up camp. And they raided in.
Shit.
I am the only one, as far as I'm aware of, and not for lack of trying to check, that made it out. Saul's been patient with me, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. The Pierce family were under the avocados, so naturally I came back toward Night City, it being the closest one. I didn't have it in me to join up with another pack or to stay in that camp. So after a few weeks, couple months of trying to make up my mind, I came into the city. You've introduced me, you and Ari both, really, introduced me to your world here in the city. I wanted to show you what mine was. The fresh air, the freedom. The ability to piss off family and somehow walk away. I'm probably going to get a message later on about it, but...
So, Saul's like, what, a leader?
He's the leader of this camp.
Okay.
Make sure everything stays together and whatnot. I am known as one of his biggest headaches.
Well, you're still an Aldecaldo, though, right?
On paper, technically. On paper, when he tells it, I work for the avocados here in the city. Though technically, I've done minor jobs for them here or there, just like I do everyone else. I still don't know if I'm going to go back to that life or not.
I mean, they could up and leave at any moment.
They could.
That's what nomads do, isn't it? They just leave sometimes?
Yeah, they tend to do so. There are some faces that were there last time that I didn't see this time around. Some new faces. That's the life. Open road. I'm actually shocked the camp hasn't moved in the last couple of years.
I don't know. It's all that moving. I don't know that I could get used to that.
It took me a while to get used to not.
Well, like you said, you barely have, you know, you're always looking for an excuse to leave the apartment. I mean, we've only been living together, what, a week, and you can't sit still.
Yeah, I've heard about that from your father last week, too. I'm supposed to be resting and I can't. So I keep trying to drag you out. Take you around the city with me.
Yeah, well, there's, I guess, plenty to do, get caught up in. Plenty of danger.
Hell, it can be dangerous just sitting in the apartment. Heard about the break-in a couple floors down.
Jeez.
Yeah, went by there. That one was a mess.
The police step in? Is that... Or...
Nope.
Just trashed place, I guess.
Trash place. Don't think they were home when it happened, but...
Well, that's good.
I don't know. Some part of me just... don't think I'm ever going to be able to sit still.
Well... That'll pose quite the problem if you want a chair.
Yeah. And she's lost in thought.
Tell us a
Going
little
over
bit.
everything.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about those thoughts there, Trix. As
Trix doesn't really trust people. So for her to open up to Jason like that, to pull him out to her world, effectively, says a lot about how she's actually finally starting to trust him a little more. Like, out of everyone in Night City, she probably trusted him and Nate more anyway. But he's gotten her to open up, and she feels kind of weird about it. And she doesn't know what to do or what to say.
he kind of stands there for a moment, just a little awkwardly, before sitting on the couch and gesturing for you to come and sit with him.
And she will.
I kind of get it. You know, you want some kind of family connection or something. You know, I understand why you like your bike. It's not like driving a car. A car, you just kind of passively take in all of your surroundings and just drive. And hell, if you got an AV like some of the corps do around here, you can fly from one place to another. But just two wheels and your butt and a small metal thing between you and the road beneath you. It's terrifying. But I could definitely see why you like terrifying.
That rush.
You're some kind of thrill seeker, otherwise you wouldn't be a merc.
Yeah, and look what that's gotten me so far.
Thank Christ you didn't get zeroed.
Yeah, you'd miss me too much if I did.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Look, I'm not good with people. I'm sorry.
What do you have to be sorry for?
Look at us, just two awkward people sitting here trying to have a conversation.
Well, you basically just told me that your family's all been murdered and, you know, you're the only person left, and geez, I don't know what to say about that. Except I'm sorry, my condolences.
I don't even know why I told you. Truth be told.
I can think of a reason.
Well,
That you don't want there to be any weirdness between us.
might be right about that. Stop. And here I've made it weird anyway.
He pauses awkwardly for a moment. And then just kind of out of nowhere leans in to kiss you.
She pulls away for a second and then leans into it. Kind of a shocked reaction.
He pulls away almost as quickly and... Sorry.
No, that's... She kind of looks very bewildered by it.
Sorry.
It's fine.
Awkward silence. Okay. He kind of leans back into a little further away from you in the couch. Just trying to give you some space so that you can process.
I'm gonna sit there a moment. And then just pull him back over. Kiss him again.
Okay. After a moment, he just says, I had a feeling.
Not the most straightforward way, is it? Get.
Well, that, I mean, it's about as straightforward as you get. Without actually saying the words.
Yeah. So what does this make us then?
Input and output?
She just starts cracking up. Just out of everything he could have said.
I mean, it doesn't have to be that serious.
Only you could refer to it like that.
Isn't that what everybody calls?
Do I look like I talk to everybody?
You know, it's Night City slang.
Yeah.
And I think that is where we are going to leave that scene on its own. Which, Slideye, was there something more you wanted to do? Or Lou? I believe that Lou may have wanted to interact with some people.
You have the floor to Loup. Just let them finish eating first.
Of course.
Hey, I can't role play with my mouth full either. All floor's all yours, Loup.
Or we could call this.
Yeah,
I mean, it's all up to y'all. So.
Yeah, and if we're wanting to save the save the next raid for the following session, we can save it.
Yeah. Because we're gonna want Orvan for that. So then,
Sure.
if that's the case, then I think we can leave off on a note of perhaps Trix and Blunder have a fade to black moment. So
All right.
we'll come back to everything next week. As a first session back, after my computer completely just had shit the bed, we're backing up and running back, everybody. So thank you guys so much for playing.
I was glad to end up stopping by. Still
Yeah.
got some rust to take off, but we'll get there.
A little bit. We're a little rusty, but we'll get there. And I think a shorter, more personal session between the different scenes was called for in that regard. Yeah. So I think in that case, what I'm going to go ahead and do is, since this is was more of like a roleplay heavy session, I'm just going to issue you all 20 improvement points across the board. That way, since everybody was kind of doing a role play thing and not really not really as far as jobs go doing a whole lot.
Oh, now you want to come over here,
baby.
I've had a certain asshole bugging the hell out of me all night again.
And Rosewolf is calling Keys Mummy Man for having wrapped up his face in a t-shirt last time. having dealt with Die Hard. That was pretty funny. That was definitely pretty funny.
Committed to the bit. Respect it.
Committed to the bit. We do commit to the bit sometimes. But yeah, thank you guys so much for playing, and welcome back everybody to Cyberpunk, the Night City Stargazers. And we're going to be back to the regular schedule on YouTube, so be on the lookout for VODs to go up. Like I said many other times, is the following week. In the meantime, you can always check out more of our old shows. I've got plenty of content on YouTube to keep you guys busy, so do the like and subscribe thing, because that helps me. Let's do that. And if you're on YouTube and have discovered us that way and have not followed on Twitch, you should come down to Twitch at twitch.tv/CoffeeCat where we do this show and D&D live on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So, yeah. So, we will be live on Saturday for D&D, come hell or high water. And, because I've got some prep work to do for that. But yeah, thanks to my players for playing. You guys are great.
Thanks for having us, Coffee.
Yeah, of course. So let's find somebody to raid and give some love to a fellow streamer. And until we see you all again for our next live show, say goodnight, everybody.
Night.
Including that little baby.
Hey, everybody.
Baby.
Baby.